Don Pierosn, and it's Tuesday's devotion, and I'm here with Don Counts at the Fogs, and we're in 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verses 8 and 9. One of my, I guess I got too many favorite scriptures. I like preaching on this. There are some scriptures, though, I wish I could preach more often, and this would be one of them that I would like to preach more often. There's so much truth in here. Let's read it. 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 8 and 9. Paul is speaking, and Paul says, I will tarry in Ephesus until Pentecost. Boy, there's a message all there about he's going to stay there until Pentecost. He knows exactly when. And then he says, for the reason for a great and effective door has opened to me. Well, that would have been enough, right? The reason he's going to stay is because there's a great and effective door. In other words, the ministry in Ephesus has been incredible. God's opened up the door into the lives of the people of Ephesus. But that's not what he does. There's no period. It's a comma. This is what he says. And there are many adversaries. Many adversaries. This whole idea of God opening a door that is great and effective, and then adding the and there are many adversaries, does not run well in most American Christian theology. You see, we assume an open door means, man, we can just run right on through. There's no obstacle at all. The truth is, Paul is the one that uses the language of an open door more than anyone else in the New Testament. And every time he uses it, it's in relationship to there being obstacles or adversaries. This word adversary is in the plural, okay? And this word adversaries is the same word that is used for the devil as the adversary. So basically what he's saying is, hey, I got a wide open door. Hey, but look at that door. That door is filled with demons. And most of us, if we saw a door that was full of demons, we wouldn't be saying that it was open. And we would say, I don't know about that. We'd be running the other way. But Paul is saying, no, man, I'm going right on through. And this has very little to do with the message, but I was pastoring in North Carolina, and I hadn't been pastoring very long, and I got a call from a couple, a man, that was begging me to come to his home. I didn't know the man didn't know me. Somebody had, I think it was one of my deacons, somebody gave this man my phone number. And he was frantic, and what he says is, he says, we need you to come here. We need to come right now. There is a demon in our home. Well, that's not a call you get very often, and not when you're young and in the ministry like that anyway. And I would like to say that was the only call like that I've gotten. I've gotten several calls like that. But being a young preacher, ready to take on everything, I told him I'd be right there. And so, now he lived in the next town. I was in Linden, he was in Irwin, so I get in my car and I travel to Irwin. All I got is an address, and I pull into it, and it's a trailer park, and I'm looking for the number, and I come up to this old trailer. And I go up to the door, and I boldly knock. That door, I was glad it was during the day and it was not at night, because that door flew open so fast, he grabbed my arm, jerked me into the house, and caught me totally off guard. And when he jerks me, and I fall on the floor right there. Well, I look around. Here's a man I've never met, and there's a woman in there, which ends up being his wife. I've never met them. I'm laying in the middle of their floor. I'm getting up, but as soon as I'm getting up, I realize something. They're putting a mattress over the door that they just pulled me through. They've closed the door, and they're putting up a mattress in front of that door. And they have a box spring over the hallway going to the back, and they have other stuff stuck in the window. In other words, you can't see out this room. I'm in this little bitty trailer in what was their living room, and every window is sealed, and the doors are sealed, and they're terrified. And I get up, and they're sitting on the couch, and And I asked them to tell me their story, so they start telling me all their story. And I didn't have a clue what I was doing, but I was strong enough and naive enough in my faith at that time to realize now that I actually had pretty great faith. Sometimes I wish I had that same kind of faith now. Well, I'm sitting right in front of them, and they're on the couch, and they are terrified, telling me all about what this demon's been doing to them. They were afraid to go out, and they were afraid to leave that room. And so what do you think I did? Well, I started with the basic. I quoted them the passage that says, "Greater is he that is in you." And I told them, I said, "You're not believers, are you?" And they said, "No." I said, "Jesus is not in your life." I said, "You're terrified because you realize that the enemy is greater for you." Well, very long story made much shorter. I shared Jesus with them, and right there on their couch, they received Jesus. And then what happened next was amazing. I didn't have to tell them anything. I didn't have to do anything. I prayed with them. They received Jesus, and you know what they did? They got up, took away the mattress from the door, moved the box spring away from the hallway, started taking stuff down around the windows. In other words, their whole demeanor changed. I didn't have to tell them anything. The feeling of Jesus in their life took away all their fear. And that passage about greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world, oh my goodness, it took on total new meaning for me. Individuals who had not been raised in church, in coming to Jesus, know what many who are raised in church do not know. He really is greater. Greater is he, that meaning God, that is in us than he that is in the world. You see, Paul has that understanding. Paul knows that the devil is everywhere in Ephesus. It's interesting that it is in the book of Ephesians, the letter to Ephesus, that Paul gives us the armor of God and how we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Paul addresses them and reminds them of that. In this passage, Paul knows he has an open door. God has given him that door. But he also knows that there are many, many demons standing in the way. But you know what? He's not moving mattresses or furniture in front of that door. He's going right on through. They don't bother him because greater is he that is in him than he that is in the world. Oh my goodness. I've known way too many Christians that were crippled by fear and lived crippled by fear. They're afraid to do everything. And therefore, they live their whole life doing nothing. Oh, they'll go to church and sit in class, but they really don't impact the kingdom. They're terrified of the devil, of the adversaries. And the truth is, they're probably their worst adversary. It's their own fear that keeps them crippled. Listen to me. I love you. I know I end all of these videos that way. I do love you. Oh, but my Lord loves you more. And when He's in your life, He casts out all fear. For greater is He that is in us than he that is in the world. Love you, Stuart Chapel.